This is Comic Fix by the Glick.
I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason, what do you have for us today?
Well, it's like I'm here to talk about something that I had pegged back from things that I was looking forward to talking about in the best of 2025 podcast. And it's like I can understand why some people would be apprehensive about hearing about this, because this is one of those rare events that actually appeared to turn people off from the event that it was talking about. And that is X-Men Age of Revelation. Now, whether or not this is actually a bad event, well, I'll get to that in a bit. But one of the purposes of this was to pay tribute to the 25th anniversary of the seminal Age of Apocalypse storyline, in the X Men titles. Now, back in the '90s, the X Men titles, were kind of just cruising on autopilot, after Chris Claremont was left and or was dismissed from from the from his legendary run on on X Men. It's like, and Age of Apocalypse basically just saw the X Men doing something really audacious, basically canceling every current X Men title at the time, and then just for the next 4 months doing 8 alternate universe titles, showing you about the this alternate hellscape that had cropped up when Charles Xavier had been killed by his son Legion, and Apocalypse had stepped up in the meantime to just rule the rule the world afterward. It was an audacious shocking event that left a mark on lots of X-Men fans at the time, including me, and was arguably the most one of the most influential X-Men events of the '90s. It's and they've come back to doing doing nods to that in terms of lots of other alternate X-Men features, such as Age of X, back in the aughts, and also the Age of X-Man more recently. But this current event, Age of Revelation, well, this is a bit more complex in the sense that well, not only is was Marvel intending this to be a tribute to the original event, but it was also you're running concurrent to like a like a series that was also being done by the one of the writers of Age of Apocalypse at the time. That's Jeff Loeb's X Men of Apocalypse series, which well, let's just say that Loeb has done some really classic stuff over the years, his Batman the Long Halloween series, his stuff for Marvel and DC in recent years has not really been on the same level, and I'm not really interested in seeing him paying tribute to this hey, remember how great the Age of Apocalypse series was? Well, let's just bring a bunch of X-Men characters from that time back and just have them interact with the current continuity and all. Hey, that sounds great. So whatever, man. But that being said, Age of Revelation is, well, let's just say that Marvel really overestimated the amount of interest that people would have in this kind of thing, because on one hand, it's a relatively compact series, so that it only lasted 3 months, but at the same time, it covered 16 different miniseries. I mean, just what the hell, Marvel? I mean, there were lots of questions about whether or not the X Men line has the mind share to just, get people invested in this kind of thing over these 3 months, even as it's trying to struggle, even as it struggles to get people invested in the post Krakoan era like um direction, between regular X-Men and Uncanny and all the spin-off series, which most of them have actually been canceled before now. But well, here's the thing: if you approach Age of Revelation as a X Men storyline, and I'm talking about Jed McKay's X Men, which To be honest, like I what I've read from McKay beforehand, like in his like Spider-Man, like Beyond stuff, like I was not really impressed by, but he's actually proven to be like a really good like writer for for X-Men, doing a great job of just like acknowledging like Krakoa's existence, and also like the X-Men's need to move beyond that, like like in his issues as well. That he's probably between him and Gail Simone on Uncanny, like he's doing the better job of giving a directed storyline to follow, basically with Cyclops's like team of X-Men having to deal with both like the Office of National Emergency, it's like, and also the like 3K, which is like a rogue mutant operation trying to establish mutant supremacy. It's like in the post Krakoan era. Yeah, Scott is trying to balance like the demands of both sides of these things. Like hey, he doesn't want mutants to be like under the thumb of the U.S. government, but he also doesn't want like these rogue like mutant supremacists to just like run roughshod over the over the world as well. But now that doesn't get us to where we're talking about with the like with Age of Revelation, because one of the storylines who emerged like post Krakoa is that with Apocalypse like realizing that hey, it's like his approach isn't working. He's got to find someone else to like establish his theory of mutant supremacy, or like survival of the fittest. And it turns out that the person that that fell upon was Doug Ramsey, Cypher, the guy who understands like language more than anyone else like in the Marvel universe. And while we're it's like and while he's trying to like like live up to this like burden that's been placed upon him by Apocalypse, it's like he's also realized that he's also been given an upgrade in his power, that to the point where like he can understand any language. He can also impose language on anyone. Like basically just like kind of like think of Paul in Dune, how he eventually realized that he could just like use his words, just like like convince people to do like anything he wanted. That's basically what like what Doug has realized. And like now and the start of the storyline basically has him like coming to the X-Men and wanting to join up with them in order to like help advance his agenda. But at the end of like the storyline, well, like as Cyclops basically says like, "Yeah, welcome to the X-Men." That's when things go screwy, and that's when the Age of Revelation kicks off, because as we learn, like Doug does join the X-Men, and and tries to like like work with them like in order to like like make a better world for mutants and the strong. But then he realizes that oh well, like they're not actually like working with me, so now I've got to like force them to do things my way. And when he like orders like Cyclops to like attack a Office of National Emergency or one base in order to get like a particular mutant, Fabian Cortez, whose ability is to like strengthen other mutant powers. Well, it's like that he does like he does that, and like that does get him the strength he needs. But things like go wrong from there. It's like from like after like the U.S. realizes that like hey, the mutants are just like going to like advance their agenda like regardless of like what we need. It's like we're just going to try and wipe them out regardless. So basically, this leads us to a it's like to a really dangerous situation where it's like, well, also at the same time, the like the mutant organization 3K unleashes like their own like mutant terraforming virus, like the X virus, that is meant to turn like regular people into mutants, or at least regular people who survive the experience into mutants. And well, it's like even though that's meant to like like turn like establishes 3K as the bad guys, it also establishes like a colony of mutant superiority that leads to like the revelation territories, which is like what Doug is calling himself like, now that he's the heir to apocalypse, and and that's basically like where things stand when the series kicks off. It's like Doug is basically being like the quasi religious leader to like the mutants in these territories that have been overrun by the X virus. But at the same time, though, well, we find out that Cyclops from our current X Men titles, along with Beast, have been brought to the future because hey, like things are bad, and what we've been told is that Cyclops and Beast's current bodies have both been babeled. Basically, when you get on the bad side of Revelation, he basically strips your ability to understand any known language. It's like, and so you're basically just like some feral like creature, and so with Cyclops like understanding that his current self is basically then out of commission. Well, he like takes up the charge. Hey, try and like make things right as best as they can, not realizing that what has actually happened is that this is like a kind of a reverse Days of Future Past situation where his present self from our time has been brought forward because his his Cyclops and his Beast have been brought back into the past to try and avert the Age of Revelation. So how did that work out? Well, you know how these things go. But the interesting thing is that if you're reading like this like these miniseries, well, here's the thing: there are 16 different miniseries, and Jesus Christ, that is a whole lot to read. And the good thing is, you don't need to read them all in order to get the main story. If you want to read, just to enjoy Age of Revelation, all you need to really do is, either buy these specific miniseries in one shots. Basically, Age of Revelation, like Zero, Age of Revelation Overture, um, Age Age of Revelation, Amazing X-Men, Age of Revelation, Book of Revelation, and the Age of Revelation like finale. That's all you need, really. It's like, and hey, if you're like me, it's like, and you've got a subscription to Marvel Unlimited, you just need to read those. It's like, and you can save a whole lot of money otherwise because Marvel is reprinting all of the like all of the miniseries like in their entirety over like 3 different volumes, but they're doing it in 3 different volumes. So I think like Age of like Amazing X-Men is in one volume, Book of Revelation is in another, and then the finale is also in another as well. So yeah, if you want to like pay like like over $100 to read all of these, it's like then yeah, it's like you can do that. Or I think that the best thing to do would just be just pay for a year of Marvel Unlimited and read all of these like in one go. Or buy these like these stories in like single issue form. Or hope that then Marvel will reprint like all the core stuff in one go. But that being said, is the core stuff by Jed MacKay um worth reading? Yeah, I really think it is. It's like he does a good job of like establishing the status of it's like of the status quo of the world of the world of Revelation, like in the opening issues, and also just like telling like compelling stories regarding like Cyclops's attempt to just Cyclops' attempt to like manage his team's like efforts to try and like avert solve make this a better world than what he came in, while also working with Beast, who is kind of like a bit weird and a bit more knowledgeable than the one we've got right now, and also like fleshing out Revelation or Doug Ramsey's mentality, while also setting up some interesting storylines within the people who are part of his inner circle. Like if you're it's like if you're invested in what McKay has been doing, like just read these miniseries. Just read what he has written, and you'll be in for a good time, because there's some really solid stuff here, some good stuff that builds on what has been established in the Krakoan era and just general X-Men history as well. There's a moment where Cyclops has to duel Darkchild dominant Ilyana Rasputin, like with a battle of truths that hurt. And it's probably one of my favorite Cyclops moments in recent history, because it shows that yeah, he can be a hard ass who plays by the rules, but he's also one who just is, it's like, who's really smart enough to understand how he can manipulate them in order to work in his favor. It's like when he finally does beat her, because it's not, he's, of course he is, because this is how these superhero stories go. It's a really smart, well played moment that I really enjoyed, and and I really loved seeing how McKay played this out, along with the serpent in the nest of Revelation's inner circle, because it also builds on what Al Ewing did with his revision, his revision of the culture of Arakko, or the Iraqi mutants. It's on Mars. There's some smart stuff that builds on what has come before in X-Men history, recent X-Men history specifically, that I've really enjoyed here. It's like, and even if the end of the series is kind of like a bit of a downer, it does feel like of a piece with what has gone before. One thing that I am kind of annoyed about is the fact that people really I kind of spoiled one of the big reveals of the end of this event, because you're meant to find out who the who the person that is the chairman of 3K is at the very end of this storyline. But people were talking about, oh yeah, hey, it's this person, like basically in headlines in comics news, and it's like, dude, what the hell, man? It's like, you're not supposed to tell us about this until we've gotten the collection editions. Come on, guys. But I will say that it's that this revelation does make things pretty interesting, and I want to see where things go, and it's played really well over the course of the event, especially in the two follow-up issues, because we get to see in the two issues that have been published on Marvel Unlimited since the end of the event, where we get to see just how things have gone, when the Age of Revelation Cyclops came back into his younger Cyclops' body, and how that went, and that was interesting. It's like, and also just what happened to the 3K chairman, like, and I do like the fact that 3K has been shown to be really volatile, and just really almost feral, and not willing to work with each other without the influence of their chairman. That was, I like the fact that hey, these people are these villains are also struggling in their own right, and I hope that McKay continues this trend like in in the series going forward. So yeah, I think this is a really strong storyline for the core X-Men storyline that McKay has been working on from the start. But what about the rest of it? Because there's 14 other series. that that you might want to invest in. Um, do you? I'm gonna say no, really, because some of them. I mean, I don't think that any of these are really terrible, but a lot of these just kind of assume that that what they're doing is just really important to their characters or their storylines, but they're not really. Like Binary, which is like basically tells you that, hey, instead of Jean Grey inheriting the Phoenix Force, Carol Danvers did, and she's just using this to like make one city resistant to the X virus. It's fine, but it's like it just feels like a real failure of imagination to just like have Carol limited in this way. Laura Kinney Sabretooth, like mentions her as a Seraphim captain to Revelation, which is kind of interesting and kind of dark, but she also just wants to have her son gotten out of the Revelation territories, courtesy of Gabby and Dakin. I mean, there's an interesting dark take on Laura's history of being mind controlled, but in the end, it doesn't really feel like it goes anywhere all that interesting. Long shots basically brings in a Mojo, which has him trying to deliver a winning reality series with with Hellcat and Wonder Man at the helm. And it's just it's wacky, over the top humor that well, it's like it's this is being co-written by Jerry Dugan and Jonathan Hickman, which hey, I'm in the tank for anything that Hickman does, but it really feels like Hickman that Hickman just gave Dugan his notes, and Dugan is in his wacky Deadpool comedy stuff, which kind of turned me off from this first solo volume without Posehn. So yeah, I can't really recommend it. Unbreakable X-Men is basically Uncanny X-Men, written by Gail Simone, that basically follows Gambit, dealing with the loss of Rogue Green, because hey, it turns out Rogue got split into two parts. In this event, Rogue Green and Rogue Red, and but Rogue Green just managed to save the world from Galactus, and now Gambit is just trying to deal with the how the world without her after that, and it's fine, but it kind of reminds me of just the fact that Simone hasn't really developed any really compelling storylines in the same way that McKay has in his X-Men stuff. Iron and Frost basically has a permanently diamond formed Emma Frost, trying to get some help in this era from a Tony Stark turned AI. It's fine, but I imagine maybe this will be of more interest to people who read through their marriage storyline in Iron Man, which I didn't, but I kind of want to, but I read so many comics as it is, so it's I haven't gotten around to this yet. Sorry. Rogue Storm basically has the depowered version of Rogue Red, trying to help Storm, who has shut herself away from everyone that she knows in order to manage the imprisonment of a demon. Um, in the years since the start of the Age of Revelation, and sure, it sounds kind of crazy, but but it's not really the kind of crazy that gets me invested in trying to check out more of the Storm stories that have been told in this current era. And then there's Sinister Six, which I was looking forward to, because hey, a mutant team run by a Mr. Sinister gives me good memories of it's of Hellions, the secret best title of the Krakoan era. But the thing is, it's written by David Marquez, and it's not really as good as his art. Really, it's I mean, yeah, there's some decent stuff with this team run by Havoc trying to secure some like secret X-Men, secret mutant knowledge like from Revelation servers, but it doesn't really like deliver in the end. Um, then there's the Last Wolverine, which focuses on Leonard, a kid possessed by the Wendigo from earlier in Saladin Ahmed's Wolverine run. This is the most relevant like title to the Age of Revelation storyline outside of the McKay written stuff, because it basically tells you like how Wolverine got his groove back like in the end, and it's it's definitely not bad. It's like it I can't say like it makes me want to go and check out what Ahmed has been doing with Wolverine in the present day, but it's pretty solid in the sense that hey, it's like I like Leonard's positive demeanor like and his desire to like do right by the conflicted hero that showed him how to be one in the first place. Then there's Omega Kids, which is Quentin Quire like overseeing his his teenage like mutants like fighting for the for the will of Revelation, and also just potentially doing things better than he did. So it's not bad, even though like I think that I like that the ending rug pull about how things turn out is I think I like it more in theory than I do in practice, but it's not bad. It's okay as it is. Um, Radioactive Spider-Man features like a really solid creative team of current Spider-Man writer Joe Kelly and artist Kev Walker, basically like showing you what Peter has been doing like in the current era, and it turns out that he's trying to keep it's like just fight against the it's like it's like all the fascist like stuff that of the Age of Revelation like in New York, but also just trying to keep his Aunt May safe at the same time, even though she's got her own problems as well that Peter just can't seem to see beyond, and that's like the most interesting part of the story, and probably like makes this one of the more interesting storylines in the in the event. Then there's Expatriate X-Men, which basically has exceptional X-Men writer Eve Ewing following up on her characters as they like try to like send someone to the limbo lands on a it's like on a devil's bargain. It's like it's not bad, but it's like I think that like there's a it's like in the end you're kind of wondering like what was the point of it all. I mean, even with all the conflicting agendas, it's like actually you're wondering like what was going on here. It's like it's fine, but not really like compelling or like a or thoroughly entertaining story on its own terms. And then there's like X Vengers, where Danielle Moonstar leading a makeshift team of Avengers fighting for the USA, like in the Age of Revelation, that pits her up against Revelation himself, and also like like touches upon like some of the like age of like some of the New Mutants or relationships. It's like at the core of this, like like between her and Revelation, and like in Cannonball, it's like and Sunspot. That kind of stuff is fun. It's like, but it's like in the end, it's just kind of like like it goes by too quickly to be of any real consequence. Then there's Cloak or Dagger, which we see like like showcases the title characters, just like switching out as necessary as they manage like the time between being parents to their kid in the between lands and fighting the Fenris twins like in the present day. It's fine, but I can't. But unless you're like you're really invested in Cloak or Dagger, then you're not probably gonna like have be interested in this beyond this. Then there's Undeadpool, which basically is a like a solo series like starring Deadpool, but the X virus has turned his mutant healing factor into overtime, and now like as he unless he gets like like enough like a mutant flesh like ingested in a certain time, like well he's just like like a serial killer, a monster killer, a like a slasher killer. It's like in the meantime, and there is some interesting stuff going on here. What with like the conflict against Cable, and also the one hero that Deadpool tries to protect, Fearless. It's like I did like this like more than like a lot of the other Age of Revelation titles, but is it worth like buying like the sole volume that it's in? Well, I guess it's up to you. I don't think so. And I will say that the Infinity comics on Marvel Unlimited, they're not bad. I mean, the first one is probably the best because it shows how Glob Herman became a Stone Cold Killer under the tutelage of the Punisher, while the second shows us how the Dark Child became the dominant personality in Illyana's body, and part three showed us just how Cable likes to come to Revelation's influence. So there you go. It's like, I mean, the like I said, the stuff with that's written by Jed MacKay, Amazing X-Men, and Book of Revelation are the ones you want to read from this. They will give you like the core storyline for this title. Everything else, uh, no, I don't think it's really worth buying like three different $35 like collections in order to like that get invested in it. It's like I think that if they Marvel does eventually like put out a Jed MacKay only Age of Revelation collection, then yeah, go and pick that up. But in the meantime, do what I did. Just read like the relevant issues on it's like on Marvel Unlimited, and that'll save you a lot of money there because they are really good and they are really invested, really important to the ongoing X-Men storyline. And yeah, speaking of someone who, yeah, who was kind of like been concerned about the direction of X-Men, post Age of Krakoa, I think that MacKay's work shows that this there is a he at least has a solid like direction for this line, and I look forward to seeing how he like how he delivers on that. That's why I picked like DNX, which is like his like next X-Men event series, like as the as the main pick for like like for like Marvel's like stuff in July, just because like like he's demonstrated that he knows he knows that there's like a about how he has a great idea about how things are going to go forward from here, like more so than any other writer like in the X-Men line at this point. So there you go. So yeah, just read Jed MacKay's X-Men stuff for Age of Revelation. Everything else, eh, I guess depends on how much time and inclination you have. So there you go.
Right. Sounds good. So, do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Probably going over the DC side of things, talk about like the one run of Birds of Prey that I read by Kelly Thompson. But hey, we'll see.
All right. We'll catch you next time on Comic Picks with the Click.
Later, everyone.